Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft. Now, I've been sleeping hard on this game because the last video is when I got on last. I haven't played this world in about 30 something days, so I'm a little rusty. But no more bullshittery, I got some things to do, so let's get into it. So I had to make a list for this episode because if I didn't, it would end up like last episode where all I did was make a home without a roof and a big ass oven in the first 7 hours. Now, let's go through it. Number 1, make a fucking bed already. I've been playing this world for a solid 7 hours now and I got no damn place to sleep, which isn't exactly optimal. I have spent many nights staring at my inferium furnace waiting for the sun to rise. That is top priority. Number 2, a reliable food source. Last episode, at one point I was running on nothing but Kung Pao chicken and a half cup of coffee, so I think that's something important on the list. And no bullshit quest rewards either. I want real, freshly made organic food. A farm. That's gonna be a little difficult though considering the vast amount of seeds I have, but I'll figure it out. Number 3, sort my shit. Yeah, this is getting out of hand. In this mod pack, there are literally like 60,000 individual items, and I got a ton of stuff to say the least. It's time I organize. And finally, the overarching goal, a content adventure. I need to explore my world and finally reach out into the unknown, all in the name of content and some potential big loot. If I complete all these tasks in one episode, I will die a happy man, even if my life takes a downward spiral from here on out. I will still remember the goals I have achieved here, and that's enough for me. So I began today's adventure by finally opening that skull chest we had in our last episode. I broke the lock off the chest and was about to open it when I heard some crazy ass noises outside my home, and a homeless man from outer space broke in and attacked me. It scared me more than it did harm because I had a nice little puddle in my chair. After that heart attack, I opened the skull chest and found some decent things, including a very interesting spider key. I then went out to find some sheep to hopefully solve my sleep deprivation situation. On my way though, I found an adolescent slime roaming in my territory and I sent a message to his friends and family. I was also picking flowers like the peaceful Disney princess that I am, and another dimension hopper started throwing fire at me. I can't even chill outside in the daytime anymore, let alone the 1,000 threats at night. After I was attacked by a firebender, I picked up some unclaimed emeralds to make tools out of them. In this mod pack with emeralds, you can make some pretty nice things. I upgraded my chest plate from iron to green iron and I was starting to feel pretty damn powerful. I even saw this huge dog in my window and I didn't even hesitate to go outside and murder the thing. So this is what my channel has come to, just slicing dogs' heads off. The next day I went back out on my journey to get a bed. I realized now though that I literally have a bunch of wool in my little camp with the townspeople, and I am confident they wouldn't mind if I just took 3. But I am not what you would call observative. In fact, I've been told common sense is not my strong suit. As I was out exploring, I found some incels that went rogue and escaped to the wild. I stole their sleeping bag very subtly, quiet like a ninja, and I was excited to go home and use it. I cannot explain to you just how sad it made me that I could not actually use it. The journey continues, I guess. But I did actually have a piece of wool on me after making it with my string, and I made it into a sleeping mat, a portable bed that gives me back problems. Also, after I woke up from my first slumber in the series, I wrote my dream in a book which was more like a novel. It was something about redstone and crystals and shit. I had no time for silly fantasy dreams though, and it did not concern me. After that, I made myself a slime string which basically launches me into the air when I shoot it at the ground. I also bought a hang glider from the shop which allows me to glide in the air. And then after I made a shield, I was ready for war. Now I can go just about anywhere fairly quick while also being protected. My first destination was the top of this big ass ice mountain that I haven't gone to yet. Once I was up there, I immediately regretted it. I mean, come on, what am I supposed to do now? Just accept this thing's existence? I was also violated by a harpy who threw me into the air multiple times. I don't think I'll go back up there for a long time. After I went back into the mines to smell some fresh air, I placed this red orchid on a redstone ore. This is because it told me if I do so, I would get something special. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that is later. I also found a dungeon that I bravely stole from and murdered the residents. I also got this cool thing like a blood diamond and a charged emerald. Once I got back, I noticed my house had too much natural lighting and I wanted to build a roof over my furnace. But before that, I had to build this oversized smelter taller so I could store more ores inside. This would be very useful seeing as I only have about 5% of the space filled at all times. And I was desperately needing more. After After I built it up a bit, I made my roof and surrounded it with fences so my dumbass can't fall in. Now I have a big open space on my roof. And you know, as I was chilling, minding my own business, the fucking rifter thing came back in and dragged me through my own home. I'm getting tired of these things sneaking up on me and just grabbing me without consent. I'm gonna have to get a restraining order or something. Like, how am I supposed to protect myself from someone who can walk through walls? The next day, I took a stroll outside to reflect on my thoughts, and while I was out, I found this little temple thing with a bunch of zombie spawners all next to each other. The zombie drops in this mod pack are actually pretty good, much better than vanilla, so I began to think I could exploit this for some crazy profit. I even blocked off some of the areas so the zombies couldn't get to me, and I viciously stabbed their feet. This was only the beginning of my scheme, and it proved very effective very quickly. But this idea would have to wait for now, as again, I have more important matters to attend to, and by that I mean I wanted to create my farm. Now I've collected so many seeds and plantable shit in my time playing, and I want to plant it all so I can finally see what is useful and get a bunch of food. So I got all of my stuff, created a little tilled area, and went to fucking town. And there were a lot of things to plant. I even had to create more farmland so I wouldn't run out, and I even planted beetroot, which I even knew that was a bad idea. I mean, who the hell ever needs beetroot in any situation in the history of man? I definitely regretted this situation, and it still keeps me up at night sometimes. Anyways, after a while, I finished my garbage farm that was made considerably worse at the sight of the most useless thing on this planet. But I finished nonetheless, and I had made more room in my chest for more random shit I didn't need. After my plants were in the ground, I went to check on my redstone plant. It had blossomed into a big flower, and I cut it down to see what I would get. Wait, seriously? One redstone? A single piece of dust for all the love and care I gave that thing? That's fine, game. It's not like I expected a return or anything. No, I just wanted to do that for fun, for shits and giggles, I guess. Anyways, I went back to my mine to clear my head and use my mini-map to find nearby caves. I ran into this small pocket that had a spawner right where I walked in. I did the normal thing though and lit it up with torches, you know how you're supposed to do it. But no, this is one of those fucky spawners that have a horde of shit come out at you when you get near it. It scared me heavily, and I did in fact have to go to the bathroom afterwards. This trip was quite productive because I was assaulted by a vampire, poisoned by a witch, attacked by some floating tools, and was almost killed by whatever the hell this is. Oh, and I found some diamonds. On my way out, I also killed this mini boss with 700 health by poking him in the feet aggressively, just like I do to my many girlfriends. I was rewarded with vampire blood, and I still don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, I went through hell and back getting it, so it better have been worth my time. Days later, in real time, I got back to the surface with a newly grown beard. Once I was up, I made stairs for my mind because we all know I can't handle that much jumping on a daily basis. I'm just not built for that. I also wanted to absolutely pimp out, and I made every single one of my furnaces an Inferium furnace. You seriously cannot handle just the raw amount of wealth I now have. As I was tending to my farms and checking the perimeter, I found this thing called Duranite, which I would not mind. This interested me, and I set a waypoint to the ore for later use. I then left my house to loot more of the huts with the loot-filled basements. They are truly something I need to take more advantage of. I even found this builder's pickaxe, and I mean, just look at this thing. Stupendous, beautiful. Just a little XP grinding at my zombie spawner, and this thing will be in tip-top shape, ready to do some mining until the end of time. I also ate some contaminated food, and I don't really know what I expected. I mean, the warning was on the label, and I really don't have anyone to blame but myself. I adventured onwards after my sickness had calmed down, and I found the main thing I've been wanting to find since the beginning, a village. Finally, after all this time, I had finally done it. Civilization, some would say, but I don't call it that. I call it potential exploitation of humans for my benefit. This was big. Oh, and I also tamed a dog and declared that his name would be Horatio. And when I got home, something big happened with my quest rewards. I'd gotten rewards for collecting vampire fanes from, you know, killing a vampire, and I was rewarded with a barbecue chicken pizza. I mean, whoever gets the chance to do something as wild as this? Can you name someone with the same opportunities and success as me? No, you can't, because this is a barbecue chicken pizza in Minecraft, and I am the sole owner of it, and I'm not sharing. So after that, I went to collect this crate I had found near a tree. It had a lock just like the skull chest, and I opened it with my handy dandy special key. And you know, I found some okay stuff inside, but what we're focusing on is these coins right here. Basically, the instructions on these magical coins say to throw it in a wishing well, somewhat cryptic. So I went to do what it said and threw my coins inside. My first treasure was cocoa beans, so it could have gone better, but I'll take it. I then got 2 pieces of paper. Wow, okay, 1 coin left. Let's see what we fucking get. This one was different though. It was a charmed coin, so it was special and more valuable. I threw it in and the well spit out 2 gold coins at me. I threw those in and got a cake and some weirdly OP iron boots. Basically what I mean by that is it had a bunch of weird enchantments that I didn't know what were used for, but they looked good. But it also had a curse of rusting, which is the opposite of unbreaking. But no fear, young child, as this will be nullified later on. I went back out exploring, trying to find more loot and profit devices while also killing many animals. Vegan warning here, this is not vegan friendly. I also found another village that I stole a bed from, which was actually my first bed in like the 12 hours of my world's existence. From this great accomplishment, I was achieved with a special prize of my choosing. The options were a very small violin, a balloon, a rubber chicken, and Swedish meatballs. Of course, I am quite the musician, on par with some of the greats like Beethoven and Snoop Dogg. So I chose the violin, and it was nothing short of greatness.
Oh Nana, what is my name? Oh Nana, what is my name? Nah. Oh Nana, what is my name? Oh Nana, what is my name? Oh Nana, what is my name? What is my name?
I then borderline threatened the villagers by holding my sword to their throat and threatening their families if they didn't give me good prices. And I guess they liked me for some reason because they gave me good trades. What nice people. I also took some new seeds that I didn't have, basically stealing their entire food supply, and was on my way. I say that was a fair exchange and they should be happy they even got a visit from me. As I was gliding along on the bright day, I saw a giant snowman that was chilling on the beach. I did not want to in any shape or form approach him, and so I landed on a mountain nearby, but at a fair distance. I then proceeded to shoot him until he was dead, and I collected his remains. I also completed a bounty since I was so brave to kill the peaceful beast in an honorable way. My reward was purple fences and an axe. I mean, money would have been kinda nice. Food maybe, possibly some diamonds. You know, I'm grateful and all, I'm just not really in the market for some purple fences at the moment. When I got back home, I wanted to go and mine with my new OP pickaxe, and it was amazing. I mean, it has efficiency 5 and mending 3, so this basically just rips through all ores in milliseconds and doesn't even take a hit when doing it. While I was down there, I also got a bunch of obsidian for, you know, hell. But before that, I had to make an obsidian pickaxe. Now, this is because I needed 2 ores inside the nether that required an obsidian pickaxe. These were ardite and cobalt. These 2 ores put together in my BBC, or bafflingly big cooker, created something called manilium. Manilium is basically the best material you can have in the Tinker's Construct mod, so I really wanted it. So I struggled for a few minutes, which I realized that absolutely none of you want to see, and after figuring this shit out, I finally made an obsidian pickaxe. I also added modifiers, which are things you can do to make the pickaxe better. I don't really know why I did this though, because I would literally just throw this thing out as soon as I had my ores. I wasted a diamond and like 2 stacks of lapis, so I'm not really sure what was going on in my head, but I now had what I needed and was finally ready to go to hell. I wanted to make my portal in my house or near it, but I also didn't want to be eaten by whatever the hell was in there. This thing has over 300 mods and I'm not taking any chances. But finally, I made my portal underground and went inside. And you see this frame right here? This is the last time I was having a good time playing Minecraft. As soon as I went through, I knew immediately this shit was not going to be good, especially because my game was running like a slideshow. Also, right when I got back to my new vacation spot, I was not exactly welcomed by the local residents. I went back through the portal in a panic and kind of processed how to go about it. I had been there for roughly 3 seconds and I already almost died. If I was gonna do this, I had to have a game plan. So a few minutes later, I went back through without a plan, of course, and it went as expected. In one of my attempts to get my stuff back, I was killed by this thing. Yup, that is just a lizard with a fucking machine gun on its head. I guess that's just normal in hell. I then had to go back through with no items and no plan so I could get to my grave and collect my items. I was successful at this, but as I was running, I was almost killed by a red creeper that just spits explosions at me from a distance. You know, I'm starting to have second thoughts about this whole nether idea. It sounded good on paper, but I guess the Airbnb left a few things out. So since I couldn't exactly walk outside freely, I mined into the wall to make a little escape tunnel for me. What I didn't know though is that inanimate objects also attacked me, including this Tiberium ore that let me know it did not appreciate being mined. Point taken. This wasn't all bad though, because this explosion opened up a bunch of exposed ores, including a bunch of ardite and cobalt. But unfortunately, as I went to leave, there were 2 pigmen that wanted my ass dead. They all flocked around where I was standing, wanting so desperately to have me dead, along with a fucking baphomet. What is, how am I supposed to say that? What the fuck? That's just someone who heel kicked their keyboard and clicked enter. That's not a name. So anyways, I hopped them bitches with my slime shoes and made my escape. I even did this sick fake into the lava and juked the pigmen. Well, I mean, not really, but it was still cool. After all the pigmen were dead, I wanted to get just a little more of the ores to be safe, but I was snuck up on and it didn't end well for me. I struggled hard trying to get my stuff back, and it's all thanks to this bitch, a blazing juggernaut. I was so aggressively penetrated by this thing that eventually the game just started telling me outright that he was dominating me. I know, game. That's kind of my whole life right now. You don't gotta remind me. Eventually though, I finally persevered and got my shit back, but it was not an easy journey. So I left hell and got back to the house to cook all of my ardite and cobalt to make some beautiful manilion. I also made an anvil to start using some of my many enchantment books I've collected in my adventures. I also officially named my dog Horatio using a name tag, a fitting name for such a badass dog. I also put some enchantments on my diamond pick, including a smelting book which smelts ores immediately when mined. I also had this book that just straight up removes curses. Remember my little comment from earlier? See the connecting dots? Anyways, I had this pumpkin on me that when put on, it gave me 20 armor, but it had a curse of binding, so I couldn't exactly take it off. So I took the curse off and put it on, and awesome. Now I can have plus 20 armor and see about 20% of my screen. I don't think this is gonna work out. So back to manilion. So I cooked some of it. Oh, I'm leaving my house again. Okay, now I'm fighting knights. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really take much for me to get distracted. Anyways, on my 28th expedition, I found a pirate ship that I wanted to conquer. You know, it was kind of offensive that someone thinks they could just sail the 7 seas without letting me know first. But I sort of underestimated the threat level of this ship. There were like 15 spawners on this thing, and a lot of them were hidden. But for every spawner, there was a bunch of treasure just waiting to be claimed. Okay, let's speedrun the loot that I found. Gold, reusable ender pearl, obsidian leggings of hell, things that detects ores in a straight line, ice bombs, manuscripts, more enchantment books, a shit ton of parasites, intestines? Books that I will not read, void crystals, random ingots, shiny emeralds, and magic scrolls. There were a lot of things. I was also a part of a mosh pit that got a little wild. So after... Oh, wait, these barrels also have stuff in them. Great. I also got an ender bag and ender chest that I can use without placing. So that was actually kind of cool. And a boomerang! Nice. After I was done with the ship, I burned it to the ground, partly to send a message, but mostly just because I had flint and steel on me. So after I was done with that, I finally got back to work on real progression. The first thing I made when I got back was a diamond shield. This is 100% a flex, and this has no other use. I then finally began to work on my manilion pickaxe, starting with the head and working my way to the rod. Alright, we get it, you're fucking hilarious. After struggling on this for a bit, I finished off my pickaxe and added the modifiers. Once I was done, I had the best pickaxe known to man. Not actually, it's kind of mediocre, but for this video, there's literally nothing more powerful. So after that day, I was watching some modded Minecraft videos and saw this mod called Simple Storage Network, which is actually in the mod pack I play. Basically, it allows you to connect a bunch of chests to one main controller, and you can see all of your shit in one place. So I got to work on making the materials for it. It was relatively cheap to make, so it didn't take long. I also found out about these things called small storage crates, which are basically better than iron and gold chests and cheaper. I made 4 of those and other required stuff, but had no place to put it. So I created my own limited series HGTV show and renovated my home. I even considered getting one of those live, laugh, love decorations, but ultimately decided it wasn't important in the moment. But I finished up making my extension so it would fit, and I was able to access my giant chest and put everything inside it. Once I was done, I felt as if a great weight had been lifted off my shoulders, as I now didn't have trash at every corner of my house. No more would I have to scramble around looking for items, because in the chest is also a crafting table built inside of it, so I could just search for things in there, take them out, and craft things all in one place. This will save me many hours. The first thing I made was a crafting table on a stick, which, you know, allowed me to access a crafting table on a stick. I also made this torch launcher that shoots torches. So many useful things that will maximize efficiency were made on this day. After that was all done, I wanted to make a quarry. This quarry will auto mine a set area I tell it to all the way down to bedrock. Pretty damn cool, right? Yeah, well, it's not free. This takes up many diamonds that I don't have, and if I want to have auto mining, I will have to first go back underground. So I went through another 3-decade-long expedition down into the mines to find all the resources. Luckily for how long I was down there, I got a little carried away and found much more than I needed. With this, I can make 3 quarries. Before that though, I wanted to get some purple slime from the leaves of my slime trees. These are on top of these slime islands that are everywhere in the world, and the reason I want them is because I can make night slime with them. Basically, all you need to know is that night slime slime is just a good thing to have for weapons and tools. So I planted some slime trees and began my own little slime forest in my yard. It was humbling. So I set up all that, and when I was done, I created my quarry. But I can't just make the quarry. I also had to make some Stirling engines to power the quarry. So I made all of those things and more, got a little ways from my base, and finally placed my quarry. When I placed it, it created a border, which is where it will mine. I then connected my Stirling engines that I placed coal into and created some storage for the items to go to. I connected some transport pipes to some barrels, and then everything was set up. After powering my engines with some redstone, the quarry started firing away. Crazy how machines can be so magical sometimes. I held back tears of joy at my amazing accomplishment and went back home to celebrate a job well done. I didn't do much more after that other than just constantly checking on my quarry and further working on my night slime, and I even got a few ingots of the substance. But other than that, that's it. Let's look at the list for the video. Make a bed. Yup, completed that daunting task. A reliable food source. Considering I filled up almost an entire chest of things I can consume, I think this can be checked off. Sort my shit. Well, I didn't really organize it, but rather just delayed the problem by making a bigger chest. I'll cross it off. And finally, the content adventure. Well, I went on a few mining trips, found some villages, killed a stone giant, found a rift in the universe, and burned down a pirate ship. Yeah, that's completed. Nice, only took me 15 hours to complete 4 things. I think it's safe to say this has been productive. But if you guys like this video or want to tell me any feedback, please leave it in the comments because I love reading them. Also, make sure to join my Discord server because it's a good place to talk to me or my community. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.